Hey guys, welcome to this section where I'm going to literally dissect my exact sales funnel of how I generate over $190,000 in revenue selling my e-commerce online course. This sales funnel can be used to sell anything. It doesn't have to be online courses. It could be physical products or services. And the sales funnel I use specifically is called the auto webinar sales funnel. And auto webinar sales funnels are the most effective and efficient sales funnels in my opinion because they require little effort. The reason they require a little effort is because although you're going to advertise the webinar as a live webinar, it's actually a pre-recorded webinar, right? In an ideal situation, you would have done a couple live webinars, and whichever live webinar had the best conversion rate, then you would use that recording of that live webinar in your auto webinar sales funnel, all right? So it's automated. It doesn't actually require a lot of effort on your part because you don't have to be exhausted doing all these live webinars. You can actually do multiple webinars throughout the day because it's all pre-recorded, it's all automated. So let's take a look real quick at my Clickfunnels dashboard. Let's do a walkthrough of what the sales funnel looks like exactly. So in full transparency, I actually hired a consultant to help me create this sales funnel template and tweak it and really individualize it. So if you went to Clickfunnels today and click their auto webinar sales funnel, it wouldn't look like the one you're going to see, right? This is custom made to be really optimized. And the consultant I used was Blake Newbar. He is, I think himself, a 7-figure sales funnel creator. He's a consultant for so many different 2 Comma Club members on Clickfunnels. So I paid a lot of money to get this sales funnel. I'm going to share it with you for free. So the first step is obviously you want to run some kind of advertising or marketing. Let's say you run a Facebook ad. That's going to bring the traffic to your sales funnel. And the first place those customers are going to land is your auto webinar registration. And this was made by Blake Newbar, but this is just a kind of a brief walkthrough of what the sales funnel looks like. So the first stop is the auto webinar registration, and it looks something like this, right? I'm going to go in detail with each one of these steps in the following videos, the next couple lectures, but I just want to do a quick walkthrough. So this is the webinar registration. You have your title, you have a time limit on when the next webinar is, the person can sign up for the webinar, and then you have some additional information and testimonials, all right? After they join this, they're going to go to step 2, which is the webinar countdown and free giveaway, which is this section right here, webinar countdown. And this page looks like what you would expect it to say, right? Congrats, you booked your webinar spot. And your webinar will start in X amount of time, and here are the different times that, depending on if you're Pacific time or Eastern time or Central time. And if you want, it's optional. You can put a free giveaway here. Generally, you would put like maybe an ebook of some sort, something someone can simply download, not a physical product. But you can also just completely eliminate this portion of this page if you want. It's not a big deal. But it's a way to get someone warmed up, get them excited about the webinar so they don't miss it. After you go through step 2, at some point after step 2, which is the webinar countdown, the customer is going to get some automated emails reminding them to sign on to the webinar because it's going to broadcast in X amount of time. They may get like 3 emails, one hour before, another email 15 minutes before their assigned webinar, and then maybe right when the webinar starts. And that will bring them to the broadcast. If they open that email, they'll click the link to join the webinar, and it will bring them to the broadcast room, which is this step here, this 3rd step. And the 3rd step looks kind of like what you would expect it to look, right? There's the pre-recorded webinar will automatically start playing, so it looks like it's a live webinar when people join. And then at the bottom, there will be a timed offer that comes out during some point during your webinar. So if your webinar is an hour long and at the 45-minute mark is when you reveal the offer of your webinar, you can time this bottom element here to show at exactly 45 minutes. The point is that you don't want to reveal the offer link until they've watched the entire webinar. The point of the webinar is that you have 45 minutes to provide value, you teach them a little bit, but at the end of that webinar, you really want to pull them in and let them know, hey, I've given you some value, but at this point, you have 2 paths. You can go the path where you do it on your own, or you can purchase my training program or my physical product to get it done. And then at that 45-minute mark, this element will pop up, and I'll go into detail with this in the next couple lecture videos. After you give them the offer, hopefully they click the button, they buy the offer. If they buy the offer, and click that button, it'll bring them to the order form, obviously. This is where they provide their information, step 4, the product order form. They're gonna provide their shipping information if it's a physical product, or simply their information and credit card if it's an info product or online course. And then you can do a couple details about whatever you're selling on the right side. And then after they click submit and they purchase it, it'll bring them to the order confirmation page, which is step 5. Step 5 is right here. If it's an info product or online course, there will be a link to bring the customer to your online course. If it's a physical product, maybe a tracking code where they can keep track of the product as you ship it to them. If someone misses the webinar, right? So after they register and they get the couple emails to remind them, or after the webinar countdown and confirmation, they get the emails to tell them, hey, sign on to the webinar. Say they missed that webinar because they're busy at work or something. Then you can set up automated emails that will email to that customer after they missed the webinar, X amount of times, letting them know, hey, you missed some awesome information, but luckily for you, we have a live replay of the webinar. And if they click that link in the email, it'll bring them to this section here, which is the webinar replay room. And this is only for people who missed the webinar. And it pretty much looks exactly like the live webinar page, right? Because here's the webinar video. It will start when they click it. And again, the offer will show during X amount of time into the webinar. And if they click this, it'll bring them back to the offer page. And then if they purchase it, it'll bring them to the confirmation page, just as if they had went to the original webinar on time. So that is the process of an auto webinar sales funnel. I'm going to break this down in much more detail in the next following videos. Oh, and I almost forgot. So if you want to copy this sales funnel, obviously it's going to take a lot of time if you build it from scratch. There's 2 ways you can kind of copy it. First, you can use the basic bare bones auto webinar sales funnel that Clickfunnels gives for you for free, and then kind of slowly but surely tweak that so it's optimized and it looks like the one I'm showing you. Or you can actually buy a similar template like this one from Blake Newbar, one of the best consultants and sales funnel creators in the world. You can buy kind of a similar template to this from the Clickfunnels marketplace, okay? And then you could tweak it so it looks more like this one. Those are the 2 options. All right, guys, see you on the next video.